Robert Shaw. Robert Shaw joined the Essendon Football Club from Sandy Bay in 1973, and since then he's been involved in the game at the highest level, either as a player, coach or as an administrator.
He taught me a hell of a lot as a football person. He was a very, very devoted thinker to the game. He's definitely had a passion for a game that not many people actually get to find a passion like Robert's got for football.
You don't fully understand probably Robert until you actually go out and coach for yourself, and I'm very fortunate I've been in that situation. Very passionate, very professional, loved the battler, loved making the battler a better person off the field, loved making the battler a better footballer on the ground. Tactically very smart. Again, I didn't realise he probably didn't have the best cattle when we were at Fitzroy, but the way he, I guess, manipulated us to play our football and the brand of football that he wanted us to play was fantastic. And again, you don't really understand that until you go out and coach yourself. And I still do now when I coach, go back on little methods and ideas that he had and use them. He was very good.
In addition to his long career, Shaw also had two separate coaching stints back in Tassie. Firstly as playing coach of the Clarence team, then returning to coach the Tassie Mariners for a year.
Robert was a real revelation when he came to the club. He and I worked very closely together. He was fearsome, fearless. He had the same sort of characteristics as Michael Malterhouse, the intensity of Dean Laidley, and probably the ability to inspire in the way that Barassi did with his speeches. So he combined all those things together. I've been lucky enough to see all of the premiership coaches that Clarence have had in action, and there was no better preparer of a team and match day speech giver than Robert Shaw.
He's a person that he made people study the game. Not a lot of coaches actually do that, you know, and he was one of the early coaches that made people really study the game. Not about always how to play, because he always went down that track too with you as a head coach, but it was about creating rules and appreciate people to make sure they don't break rules. So they had the discipline part of it.
Robert Shaw is one of the few Tasmanians to ever be selected to be head coach of a VFL-AFL club, and was the first Tasmanian to coach an AFL team since the VFL became the AFL back in 1990.
Well, Robert, as a football person, as one of the best, he's put a lot of thought into the passion that he's had. You know, he's had the courage to leave home and obviously come over to Melbourne and try out in the early days. Unfortunately injured, never played a lot of footy. Very similar to Neil Danaher. Went on to have great success as a coach because, you know, he never really had great teams, and a lot of people don't appreciate that. But it's the effort and the time and the planning that Robert always put into his work.
He's not one you could probably get to know straight away, and he probably doesn't let his feelings show very often, but his personality is one of, I guess, a very committed and very passionate and person, and that's the only way I can describe him. He's got enormous character. And
he can be grumpy, you know, he's very, very frightful when you're grumpy, Robert. But I think we had a good balance.
That was also the year that Shaw and his Tasmanian State of Origin team entered the history books of Tasmanian football by becoming the first Tasmanian team in 30 years and only the second ever to defeat Victoria in an interstate match. Nearly 19,000 people packed the North Hobart Oval to witness this great event, and it was a moment in Robert Shaw's career that he remembers with great pride. Robert Shaw is more passionate about footy in his home state of Tasmania than just about anyone ever involved in the game.
He's been a tough person to live with, like most of us coaches are. To everybody in the room tonight enjoying this function, he deserves the opportunity to be put up there amongst great Tasmanians, not necessarily because of the way he played footy, but it's something about the way he has thought about football. It's an art to him, it's a passion, And he has the right to enjoy himself tonight like anybody else with his family. And I hope everybody does appreciate the behind-the-scenes people in football that can become legends, because it doesn't often happen that they become a legend. In this case, congratulations to Tasmania for making that choice. It's a great choice.